the roll.
Supervisors Cerna, Kennedy, Frost,
Here.
Natoli, and Peters.
Here.
You have a quorum. The meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and is webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated Friday, April 13th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. A DVD copy is available for checkout from any local library branch. Members of the audience wishing to address the board may sign up at the kiosk or fill out a speaker slip and hand it to staff. When the chair calls your name, please come to the podium. Also, please silence all of your electronic devices at this time.
Thank you. And we're honored today to have the Sheriff's Honor Guard with us to honor our volunteer appreciation event. So I would ask you to please rise, remove your hats for the posting of the colors by the Sacramento County Sheriff's Color Guard, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Color Guard, please post the colors.
Detail, attend, hup, port, ha, forward, ha. Detail, halt, halt. Post colors. Present arms. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Hum. Ready. Base. Forward. Hum.
Thank you very much to the Sheriff's Honor Guard. Okay. I think we're ready to begin our agenda.
For your consent matters, items 1 through 49, I do not have any clerk notes.
Does anyone on my right have anything they'd like to comment on the agenda? On the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I just turn to the county executive if I could on item 37, if we could, so, yeah.
We would like to ask continuation on item 37 until April 24th. We do have a speaker, I believe, too, that wants...
I don't know if the speaker's in here or not. We had a request to address...
I don't have anyone signed up for this item.
And I just would note that we've had a meeting regarding the groundwater basin, and I want to thank certainly our staff for their efforts thus far. We were going to be awarded a grant, but there's a couple questions here I think that probably should at least be somewhat addressed in the staff report before we actually take this action. So if we can have a couple of weeks to do this, I think I'll give us some time to work with the county executive and water resources staff on this. So,
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Anything else? No? Okay, Mr. Cerna?
Thank you. Item 33.
Item 33, approve the cooperative agreement with California State Department of Transportation for the design and construction of Metro Parkway Interstate 5 interchange.
So I just had a question. Don't want to pull it for a separate vote, but I noticed that the amount that's cited in the board letter for the interchange, first phase of the interchange, is approximately $20.1 million. And then I look in the TIP-G, which we're going to be considering later today, and there's an amount cited on page A3-2 of $26.8 million. I just wanted to understand the difference.
The amount shown, I'm Dan Schuman with Department of Transportation. The amount shown in the TIP-G is the total project. So the construction cost depicted in the board letter is the contract plus the construction support. So it's only that construction phase part.
So it's a difference in phases?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, and then, Madam Clerk, I would like to point out that I'm going to recuse myself on items 2, 3, and 5 due to potential conflict of interest.
So we'll need someone to make the motion.
So we need a motion on the consent.
Do we have a speaker on 25?
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
Now that we all have this, it's easier to see.
Sorry.
Sorry, well, would you read item 25, please?
Sure. Item 25, approve resolutions authorizing the execution of contracts with Bureau Veritas North America Incorporated and Four Leaf Incorporated for on-call consultant services for building permits and inspection, and the Construction Management and Inspection Division.
Call Donovan Doyen. Donovan?
He's coming.
Good morning. I'm Donovan Doyen. I'm the Building Inspection Representative with ETTI Bargaining Unit. We met with a few earlier this week. In addition, we also met with Nav Gill and Eric Stearns from SCRS about this issue, and we thank you for your time. ETTI's position on this contract proposal is that it displaces county employees and is not cost effective and undermines the funding of our pension. Based on the employee loaded rates, 71J contractors cost more an hour than a county employee. There are also costs that need to be considered here. When an outside contractor is hired, they require training in county policies and procedures. The cost of training these contractors should be included in the proposal. Then there's also the cost of managing and administering these contractors. When the work is done and the contract is complete, the training and experience that the county has paid for is lost. We feel that if limited term positions were created and used, this institutional knowledge would go to the people who intend to work for the county and contribute to the county, and also have an opportunity for a permanent position. Not only do we feel our bargaining unit's work is being given away at a higher cost, we feel our pension fund is also being undermined from the use of 71J contractors. But we are not just giving away the principle of our contribution, but also the opportunity earning compounding interest from it being invested. When this contract was first proposed to us at a joint labor management meeting, it was for a total of $3 million. We, ETTI, balked at this because we thought it was an excessive and unjustified amount. After doing so, management revised the contract ceiling amount to $2.5 million. The reduction in the contract alone from $3 million to $2.5 million is 17%. This is well above a 10.88 employee pension contribution. If county employees were to do the $2.5 million worth of work in this contract, employees would make a contribution of roughly $250,000 into the pension fund. At 7% compounding interest for 4 years, the total opportunity cost is $327,000 in this one contract. We see this as a great loss to all county employees. That's why we are asking that when 71J contractors are used, a contribution to the pension fund be made. We feel that if this contribution requirement was made, either by the 71J contractors or the county, our pension would be protected for whatever ups and downs the economy has in the future. Thank you for this time to let me share our position, and we look forward to having more dialogue on this issue.
Thank you. Mr. County Executive, did you wish to make any comments?
Yes, we did meet with ATTI folks, and their request, we understand what they're asking. We're going to continue, as he mentioned, working with them on 71J contracts. What you have in front of you today is a need from both CMID and building inspection for some relief that we need on when more workload comes in, and our reps are here if you want to hear about what the business case is behind this request.
Mr. Natoli?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Could we, Nav and Robin, have you weigh in with something, report back on the question that's been posed, because I think I mentioned to you in my briefing yesterday that when I met with some of the reps the other day about whether or not with the contracting as proposed, obviously to supplement some of the workload, this whole question about contribution to the retirement system, what that means, because obviously the county as an employer pays that in for all of its employees, and employees also pay a proportionate share as well. And so, but the question was rather new to me as to whether or not that actually, there were some references to this maybe done elsewhere as a part of your overall contractual framework for doing work in particular areas. But I'm not familiar with the details, whether the law even provides for that, but I think certainly it's a fair question, and one that I think at least we should have some feedback on, and I think it would be helpful for ETT and I to
Absolutely.
have that as well, and all of our representative units as well. So.
Yep, we'll do a report back on that.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions on this item? Comments? Okay. I think we had a motion. Did we have a second? Second. Okay. All those in favor, please vote. Oh, we need a screen over here for Mr. Kennedy.
Oh,
Try touching this.
I'll vote twice for you. I do that all day? I'll pause for a moment here. Well, maybe while they're working on that, could we take a voice vote on this?
The old-fashioned way, huh?
Yeah, the old-fashioned way. So while waiting for Mr. Kennedy's screen to get filled, we'll take a voice vote on this. All in favor of the consent calendar, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Noes? Abstentions? And repeating my recusal on,
items 2, 3, and 5.
okay.
This is also with the exception of item 33.
And item 37 is continued to 24th. And item 37 is continued. Right. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Going to-
Item number 50 is the presentation of resolution honoring Dr. Donna Yee upon the occasion of her retirement.
I'm sorry, we're going to drop that from the agenda for the moment.
Okay.
Could you clear our screens, please?
Are we up now? Are we voting to drop this item?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I thought, well, I'm
I'm going to clear
I
it
guess
and
we'll
try
have a
it one
voice
more
vote on
time.
that
Okay.
also.
I think we're good to go. I see everyone.
Okay, so all those in favor of dropping this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes, abstentions, recusals? Okay.
Okay.
Item is dropped.
For item 51, presentation of resolution honoring John Wheat on the occasion of his retirement.
I didn't see him. Is he here, or did he
Yeah.
scamper out of here? Okay.
Up there.
How are you?
Good. I know how much you love public appearances, so we made sure to do a really long resolution.
Appreciate that.
Okay. John Weed's been at the airport as director of the Department of Airports since 2013, and he's responsible for the operations and improvements to the county's airport system that includes SAC International, SAC Executive, Franklin Field, and Mather airports. And during his time here as director, he has added new nonstop service to numerous locations, such as San Diego, Newark, Los Cabos, Spokane, Long Beach, and my favorite, Vancouver, BC. He led initiatives to improve customer satisfaction while controlling costs at the airport, such as a variety of parking, as well as a 15-acre solar project that's expected to save $850,000 a year in $850,000 a year in electricity costs over 25 years. And importantly, Sacramento International Airport was ranked as a #1 medium hub airport in J.D. Power's 2017 satisfaction study. In addition to that, I think I could say for the board that we have all really enjoyed working with you. We built this new airport, opened it in the middle of a horrible recession, and you pulled us out of the fire on that, and the power of that really can't be understated. So we thank you so much, and we wish you a fun retirement, and I hope that NAB has you on kind of consulting agreement, a direct dial. So on behalf of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors, we want to wish you many years of a happy retirement, and wish you well. Thank you very much.
Very much.
I just want to say it's been an absolutely fantastic 5 years. While I can't take all the credit for this, we have an incredible staff, but more importantly, the support I've received from this board, from NAV, from the administration, has really made this a pretty simple process. I think I leave the airport system in a really good position, and I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It's been a gas.
Thanks, John.
Hey, John. just take these others down here.
Okay, item 52 is the presentation of resolution proclaiming the week of April 6th through the 14th, 2018 as Creek Week in Sacramento County.
Okay, could Altitura come to the...
I'm here.
There she is.
Are you going to speak first?
Do you want to just go ahead and introduce her then?
Just do it?
Oh, I'd be happy to introduce her. I thought you need some introduction.
That's true. Go ahead, Alma. No, just,
You can
that's
come-
fine.
Okay, all right, okay. Good morning. Again, thank you for the bag of fun things. On behalf of the County Board of Supervisors, we want to express our thanks and appreciation to Altitura and the Sacramento Area Creeks Council for celebrating the 28th Annual Creek Week. We want to thank all the present and past volunteers who donated their time and efforts to enhance and improve our local waterways. And your efforts are making a positive difference. And we'd like to also thank county staff involved with the coordination, cleanup, and promotion of Creek Week. As we've discovered with various social problems over the last few years, having clean creeks is really, really important to the health and aesthetic interests of everyone in the county. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Get right here. You come down if you want to say something. Paparazzi.
I know.
Put you in the middle. Did you want to say something? You want to say something?
No, I was just going to introduce her, and you covered it, so.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
I'll just say a few things about
Please do.
Thank you very much for the resolution. And Creek Week started Friday with the splash off. I just want to remind anybody that's interested in participating, we have activities this week. There's a nature tour going on right now at McClellan Business Park of their West Nature area. And we have 2 evening outings for tomorrow. One is at Steelhead Creek, and the other is at the Bufferlands, and evening time right before it gets dark, there's more wildlife out, so those are both great. And if you're interested, go to creekweek.net and click on our activities page to get details about those. Our cleanup starts 9 o'clock Saturday morning, and if you want to volunteer, we have a few spaces left at some of the sites. Again, creekweek.net volunteer page. After the cleanup at noon, we will be celebrating at Carmichael Park, and that's where our volunteers get a t-shirt, hot dog, lunch. But anybody that's interested is invited to the celebration. We've got lots of exhibits. They're interactive. We have entertainment. And so we want everybody to come that is interested in learning more about how to keep our urban creek systems healthy. At our splash off this year, we recognized Mira Loma High School with the Creek Steward Award for their ongoing work preserving and studying Arcade Creek. So a lot of these activities take place in Supervisors Peters District, and we really appreciate all the creek systems and the support we get within the district and throughout the county. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Item 53 is the presentation of resolution Mosquito Awareness Week.
I don't know who's here for the mosquitoes. Right here. Okay.
Mr. Goodman.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. Well, I'll just make a brief comment here. We have a resolution for you noting the Mosquito and Vector Control Association of California designating April 15th to 25th 21st as Mosquito and West Nile Virus Awareness Week. I know my family's already complaining about mosquitoes, so we know they're out there. And California recognizes that the mosquito-borne diseases are a grave threat to the health and safety of all Californians. And the Control District coordinates their efforts to protect humans and other animals at risk from mosquito and vector-borne diseases and nuisances. And the resolution goes further to state the district has worked diligently to provide the public with health benefits associated with the control methods, as well as motivate the public to eliminate mosquito and vector breeding sites. I think one of the things you have to do is explain to everybody, as every year, what's a vector, okay? It's my honor on behalf of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors to proclaim April 15th, 21st as Mosquito and West Nile Virus Awareness Week. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Here, Sheriff.
I think I have a presentation right now, right here. Perfect. Well, that was very well executed. Definitely appreciate the Board of Supervisors' recognition of what it is that we oh, you're raising it. Okay, that makes sense. For West Nile Virus Awareness Week, I'm actually here with the Sacramento County Board appointee on our district board. Susan Maggie is your representative on our board, and we are coming into a very busy mosquito season, so I appreciate the opportunity just to talk and address the board and the public on what issues that we're facing with mosquitoes and disease on an annual basis. And so our district covers both Sacramento and Yolo County, very diverse from the perspective that we have a lot of wetlands and areas down in the southern part of Sacramento County with the Delta, then leading up into a significant amount of urban population, and then even rice fields that we have in the Natomas area. And then just on the other side of the river, we also encompass Yolo County, so we have a tremendous amount of agricultural and rural sources that are there. And so mosquitoes, fortunately or unfortunately, don't necessarily stay where they're born, they fly. And so we have a lot of mosquitoes that coming from these agricultural areas that can have an impact on our urban populations. And so we're very diverse from our general perspective. In terms of mosquito habitat and what it is that we're looking for, it's very easy for us to see some of these agricultural sources. So you look at wetlands, you look at rice fields, you look at irrigation ditches, those types of things. Very simple for us to see that standing water where mosquitoes might be most active. Our bigger challenge, though, are actually some of the backyard sources, of some of the sources that are in people's backyards, in our residential neighborhoods, and especially after we've had these recent rains and very heavy rains, anything in your backyard that can hold water right now is. And mosquitoes don't need very much water to breed. And so anything, what we ask our residents to do is to go around their yard once a week and make sure that you're dumping out any standing water. Mosquitoes are looking for this type of standing water in buckets and green swimming pools and bird baths that they will then proliferate, and we want to make sure that people are making sure that they're not breeding mosquitoes on their own property. And so our district uses what we call integrated mosquito management measures. The first one is public information. We have a very active advertising program with radio, television, print. Also do a tremendous amount of social media, trying to get the messages out on a daily basis as to what issues that people can try to make sure that they're not preventing mosquito bites and preventing mosquito breeding and protecting themselves. We go to a lot of neighborhood associations and events to try to educate the residents on the issues associated with public health and mosquito control. The next component is our surveillance. We set traps out throughout the district and make sure that we're monitoring those traps for abundance of mosquitoes. Are the populations going up? Are they going down? And what do we do to be able to react to that specifically? And then, of course, as part of our surveillance program, we bring those mosquitoes back to our lab down in the Elk Grove facility, and we count and sort every single species of mosquitoes that we have, and then we test for virus. So we're testing to see if any of these mosquitoes are carrying diseases, specifically viruses like West Nile. Then we have a biological control program. These are small mosquito fish that we plant in places like rice fields or wetlands or even backyard swimming pools that will eat the mosquito larvae in their aquatic stage. They're a very effective tool. We offer those free of charge. And our facility down in Elk Grove, we have 23 ponds dedicated towards breeding these fish. We're probably the largest mosquito fish breeding facility in the country. And we plant about 4,000 pounds of fish per year just in Sacramento and Yolo County. Then we get into our physical control program. This is a program program where we work actively with wetland owners or landowners in general. We work with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We work with Cosumnes River Preserve. We work with the Nature Conservancy on making sure that they're not breeding mosquitoes on their own property and trying to give them what we call best management practices to be able to mitigate where their standing water is. And we actually have some heavy equipment. We have a backhoe and dump truck, and we offer those services to be able to try to help manipulate the land so they're not breeding mosquitoes on their property. And then we get into what our control efforts are, which is larvicide and adulticide. And so our technicians go out on a daily basis looking for those backyard swimming pools, looking for those wetlands, looking for wherever mosquitoes may be breeding, and then treating accordingly. And then when we start to get adult mosquito control numbers or adult mosquitoes that are flying and have virus activity is when we institute our adult mosquito control measures. And that's anywhere from backpack to ATVs to trucks, and then in recent years we've actually implemented airplanes over either urban or rural areas to try to control the adult mosquito population and protect public health. So in general, what are we concerned about? Well, for the most part, we're concerned about diseases. And as Chair Peters mentioned, a mosquito is a vector. And so essentially it transfers a disease, it vectors it from the host, and in the situation of West Nile virus is a bird disease. So the birds are the reservoirs that are carrying West Nile. The mosquito is the vector that picks it up from the bird and then transmits it to something else, to either to another bird or to a human or to a horse. And right now, West Nile virus is the most prevalent mosquito-borne disease that we have in the United States, but there are other ones that we have a significant concern about. Dengue fever, malaria, chikungunya, Zika virus has been in the news over the last couple of years and has had an impact on residents in the United States. And then at this time of the year, after these recent rains, dog heartworm is also transmitted by mosquitoes. And so you want to make sure that you're protecting your pets by giving the appropriate medication to prevent dog heartworm. So in general, West Nile virus activity in California, here's a snapshot of the last few years. Last year we had about 536 cases. It's interesting, those cases have started to drop off the last couple of years, and essentially that's because the drought has started to go away. So what happens when we have a drought is that we actually get an amplification of the virus, and we actually end up having more human cases affected by that. It's a little counterintuitive. You would think that when in the drought you'd have less water, therefore you'd have less mosquitoes. But because West Nile is a bird disease, wherever you do have water in those drought years, you have the congregation of both birds and mosquitoes in the same place, and it tends to amplify the virus. But one thing I do want to try to highlight here is that these are the reported number of cases, and about 70% of these reported cases in California are what we call the more serious neuroinvasive form of the disease, and that is requires hospitalization, can lead to blindness, paralysis, and even death. And CDC, Centers for Disease Control, estimate that for every neuroinvasive form of the disease, there are another 30 to 70 cases that go unreported, because you may go to the doctor, you may have flu-like symptoms and you're feeling ill, you may never get tested for West Nile, even though that may be what you're suffering from. So really you're talking about tens of thousands of cases of having an impact here in California alone, of people that are being stricken with West Nile. So we want to make sure that people are aware of that, and that there's some very simple precautions that they can take to try to help prevent that in the future. So here's just a snapshot of Sacramento County as a whole of what we saw last year. The red circles are mosquito samples that tested positive for West Nile virus. We had 153 last year, which was a significant drop over the last couple of years. And then we also test dead birds. So if a bird dies, we'll test it to see if it's carrying the virus, and we had 86 of those. And so you can see how it's scattered around the county. So it really has an impact, or it has a potential to have an impact of almost anybody that lives within Sacramento County. And of course, West Nile virus is a disease that we're going to have forever. It's not something that's going to go away, so we want to make sure that people are aware of that. So what are we expecting for 2018? It's very difficult for us to try to predict. Obviously, with the amount of water, if the trend continues and the fact that we're not in a drought, we may still continue to see a drop in cases, which would be a good thing. But we want to make sure that people at least are aware of what the concerns are. We are also doing ongoing surveillance for what we're calling invasive species of mosquitoes. So within our district, or within worldwide, there's about 3,500 different species of mosquitoes. Within our district, Sacramento and Yolo County in the Valley, we have about 24 of those species. Some of them transmit disease, some of them don't. But these invasive mosquitoes are coming in from Mexico and South America and Central America, and are starting to get it more established in California. So there are already significant populations established in Southern California and LA, but even as close to us as Fresno and Madera. And the concern with these invasive species of mosquitoes is that they're very efficient vectors of more exotic diseases like Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. And so we want to make sure that we are picking those up as quickly as we can and seeing how we might be able to eradicate this particular species that are not supposed to be in our area. So what do we ask the general public to do? We have what we call 7 Ds of mosquito prevention. 1, drain standing water, go around your yard, make sure you're not producing mosquitoes in your own property. Dawn and dusk, I know there was a call for Creek Week to go out in the evening time. Make sure that you have a good repellent. That's when mosquitoes are most active, or at dawn and dusk. That's when they're looking to bite. So we want to make sure that people are aware of that. If you do have to go out, dress in long sleeves and pants when you're outside during those times. Defend yourself with a good repellent. So I would offer up repellent to all those folks that are going to go to Creek Week in the evening time. We buy these packets, we buy them by the pallet. So if you have public events, especially something in the evening time like movies in the park or those types of things that we're going to start seeing in the summertime, give the district a call. We'll be more than happy to provide these free of charge. We want people to use them. It's important. And then doors and screens should be in good working order. In the summertime within Sacramento, we want to open up our windows and get the Delta breeze to cool the house off. Mosquitoes are very small, and they'll find their way inside your house, so make sure your screens and doors are in good working condition. And then, of course, the last D is district personnel. This is what we're here for. So if you're being bothered by mosquitoes, if you're seeing mosquitoes, if you see standing water, if you know a neighbor who has a bad green pool, call us. Go to our website. We usually come out within 24 hours. We want to make sure that we take care of the problem as quickly as we possibly can. And so with that, you can get more information by calling our phone number, 1-800-429-1022, or visit our website at fightthebite.net. And with that, just want to say again to the board, thank you very much for the resolution, the recognition of Mosquito Awareness Week. We have a lot of activities scheduled for next week, a media day, handing out repellent to the homeless shelters. We also have our Fight the Bite contest. We'll be announcing our winners from our grade school and high school winners next week. So thank you very much.
Item 54, presentation of resolution recognizing Fair Housing Month in Sacramento County, April 2018.
There you are. It's nice to see you. Welcome. Thank you. April is Fair Housing Month throughout the United States. 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of the enactment of the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968 that was passed by Congress on April 11th, 1968. The goal of Sacramento County is to address and eliminate discrimination and assure the rights of all people. At the dissolution of the Regional Human Rights Fair Housing Commission 2014, the county took the lead in restoring fair housing services by contracting with Sacramento Self-Help Housing, Inc. Since that time, several incorporated cities have joined Sacramento County and contracted with Sacramento Self-Help Housing, Inc. to provide the Renters Helpline, a number that residents can call for landlord-tenant dispute and fair housing services. It's my pleasure, on behalf of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors, to proclaim April 2018 as Fair Housing Month, and I have a resolution for your board, your boardroom for 50 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right there. Resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'd like to say a few words.
Just a couple of words, yeah. I'm John Foley, Executive Director of Sacramento Self-Help Housing. I thank you for this award, but I particularly thank you for your leadership in the fair housing work that we've been able to do. When the commission was dissolved, you recognized immediately a need to provide that service, particularly as the housing crisis has worsened and rents have increased and availability has diminished. A huge amount of pressure on tenants to deal with situations that might come up. Difficult to find units to rent. Landlords sometimes hire people that aren't totally on top of things to manage their property, and a lot of unfortunate things happen. We often encounter clear prejudice against families with children, because children do make noise and some people aren't prepared to deal with that. We have situations where people who are not native to this country, who are living here, are discriminated against. Sometimes specifically people will say we don't rent to illegals, even though these are perfectly legal people but aren't native to this country. Our work involves using attorneys. We contract with Project Sentinel, as you know, and Nubian Scott is here, and I thought Nubian might say a couple of words about what she's experienced.
So Project Sentinel is a fair housing agency that contracts with self-help housing, and with the support of the county and in collaboration with self-help housing, we've been able over the last few years to address the most prevalent issues we've seen in the county, which are housing discrimination issues against people with disabilities, against residents with families, and also against people of varying national origins, which I think we know is becoming a consistent issue because of Sacramento County being a space for a lot of recent immigrants. So we look forward with you all's support to continue to address those efforts. So thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item.
Item 55, Annual Volunteer Recognition Event.
Okay, looking for Dave Comanchero, who's going to be our Master of Ceremonies, to begin the proceedings. I'd like to welcome honored volunteers, families, and guests to the board's recognition of outstanding volunteers for 2017. You all give your time, energy, and talents and make this county a better place to live. So it's amazing that we have over 5,000 people who volunteered in 2018, and their help is greatly appreciated by each of the departments and citizens of Sacramento County. Thank you for all your volunteering and unselfish giving of your time. Mr. Comanchero.
Thank you, Chair Peters, fellow supervisors. We're here today to celebrate the labor, the time, and the love efforts of the volunteers over the last year in Sacramento County. And now, if you don't mind, I'm going to pivot and address the crowd. For those of you in the audience, I realize the room is small, just a couple of housekeeping details before we begin. We will have a professional photographer here to take photographs of the recognition departments and volunteers here in the building. So please be considerate about taking photographs while he's working the camera. Second, for those of you that parked or attempted to park in our parking garage, please leave out of the H Street exit, which is the exit that points to the county admin building, and please address the attendant there. Tell them you're part of the volunteer recognition event. Okay? Thank you and welcome. So let's begin. For everybody in the audience and for those watching at home, we'd like to extend our thanks and appreciation for all your time and efforts in the last year. In 2017, we had over 5,000 volunteers donating time and labor. 350,000 plus hours were given to the county, unpaid, selfless generosity by the volunteers. And if we were to make a dollar value of that donated time, it would come out to over $10 million. And so in recognition of that donated dollar value, we have a ceremonial check to present to the Board of Supervisors. If the board would like to come down and take a photograph of that generous donated check. Tanya, the check, please.
Dave, do you want us to do that now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, everybody go down. We can split up the $10 million.
10.
Still in front of your face, isn't it? Sorry. Short person here.
Thank you very much, everyone. And obviously, we have volunteers working Creek Week already this weekend, so this work continues well into this year and beyond. And so we are now going to recognize individual departments for their work in the prior year. So I'd like to start off with Animal Care and Regulation. If I could have Department Director Dave Dickinson and Volunteer Coordinator Celeste Ingrid come down to the podium, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Peters and board members. Thank you for providing this day of recognition each year to give us thanks, allow us to give thanks and appreciation to the volunteers that help our department throughout the year. Today, Animal Care and Regulation.
You can stand with your back to us. This is the only time we allow that.
Today, I'm pleased to announce our individual Volunteer of the Year, Pauline Kawamoto. Please, Pauline, come on down. Pauline is a volunteer with superhero energy. She doesn't know the meaning of the statement, "It's time to go home."
She's scared of the camera, I think.
It's not unusual to see Pauline after hours at the shelter, after we've closed to the public, and she stays late into the evening helping out the feline population. Cats are her specialty. She does a wonderful job there. She spends time there, like I said, in the evening after working a full-time job as a senior marketing coordinator for an engineering firm. She also comes down on her days off and spends 8 to 12 hours on those particular days helping the feline population. She had several weeks of vacation time last year that she needed to use or lose. And where did she go? She went to the Bradshaw Animal Shelter to help the feline population. She's a very dedicated volunteer. She contributed more than 1,400 hours of her own time in the shelter last year. And that doesn't include a lot of the work that she does at home, writing up bios and other things for the cats. She's been the backbone and the driving force behind the shelter's very successful barn cat adoption program, where feral cats or behavioral cats that can't be adopted out as family pets go to homes with land or outbuildings where they can live their lives peacefully without being harmed by predators and other things. She also helps with the facilitates the regular adoptions of the friendly cats from the shelter to good homes too. She has a lot of help there with one of our other volunteers, Gina Enzi. They kind of pair up together and get a lot done on a yearly basis. Last year they did 248 adoptions of barn cats alone, which is a huge help to the shelter. That helps the shelter reach some of the goals that it sets forth on a daily and a yearly basis, finding cats homes. Through superb professional customer service and personal attention, she provides each and every prospective adopter. She makes appropriate matches and ensures safe and humane living environments for the barn cats. She does the same for our friendly kitties as our skilled go-to cat adoption counselor. She also assists with shelter's equally successful return to field program, where cats are brought into the shelter, they're altered, and they're returned to their original locations where they've been able to survive and prosper throughout their lives. Pauline's talents also include being the shelter's primary cat photographer, doing glamour shots for the cats that then go up on our website to promote their adoptability. Pauline is simply one of the shelter's most driven volunteers and gives her time with an unwavering commitment and always cheerful demeanor. So congratulations, Pauline, as volunteer.
I want to say that our Barn Cat program, I'm so proud to be a volunteer of this program. It gives the cats a second chance in life. I think we have the best shelter in Sacramento County, and I'm proud to be a volunteer there. Thank you for the award.
Do the dance.
Two shot, one more, here we go. Thanks.
And then can we have Chair Peters also take a picture? Would you mind?
Sure.
She's coming. Can I ask you to back about this?
Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Celeste Ingrid. I'm the Volunteer Program Coordinator for the Bradshaw Shelter. And I was going to start my remarks with saying you have no idea how difficult it was to get Pauline here today. But I think you can see how difficult it was.
We kind of get the idea, though.
Pauline is... I've tried to take so many photos of her over the years, and every picture is this, or ducking down. I think I have one good photo of Pauline, but she is simply amazing, and she's truly deserving of the honor of being our Volunteer of the Year. So thank you, Pauline. Before I get started with presenting our group volunteer nominee or honorees, I want to thank all of the shelter volunteers. We have an incredible volunteer force who do so much throughout the shelter. They truly give so much of themselves, give up so much of their personal time, and a lot of them make really deep sacrifices to be at the shelter and volunteer outside of the shelter as well. Last year we had our volunteer team as a whole contributed about 40,000 hours of volunteer time. So an incredible group. So I do want to say thank you to all of them. Now I'd like to present our group honorees. So I'm going to call down, this is from our Bradshaw Animal Assistance Team known as the BAT Clinic or BAT program. I'm going to call down the volunteers who are able to make it today. Many of them work in veterinary hospitals or are in veterinary school, in school to become veterinary technicians or work, the regular 9-to-5 jobs in offices. But we are pleased to have a number of them here. So Adam Roachford Gold, Amanda Phillips, Anna Martinez, Brianna Fritz, Dave McClanahan, who surprised us by showing up today. Dave was also our 2016 Individual Volunteer of the Year. Diana Lelis, Jill Hoon, Jill Sprague, Joe Whitty, Kim Brandt, Liliana Moran, Louise De La Cruz, Mary Lockley, Melissa Araneta, Michelle Finnerty, Nicole Olson, Rachel Young, Shelley Susanka, and Tui Vo. I don't know that everyone that I called was able to make it. I know there were some parking difficulties, but we are very pleased to have the members here that have been able to make it. The folks here represent a part of the 80-plus volunteers who made the 2017 BAT. Oh, I'm sorry, Becky Jewell. Becky Jewell, come on down. If I missed anyone else, please head on down. These folks make up part of the 80-plus volunteers who made the 2017 BAT clinics possible. The Bradshaw Animal Assistance Team, known as the BAT program, is a rotating team comprised of more than 120 dedicated veterinary professionals, students, and non-veterinary volunteers. Each clinic enjoys the contributions of 40 to 60 volunteers. The clinics are available to low-income county residents and take place once a month. They operate in some of our most underserved county communities where there's a large population of financially challenged and homeless pet owners. Each high-volume clinic serves an average of 250 pets in a single 3-hour period, oftentimes many more than that. The program offers free vaccines, microchipping, treatment of minor medical issues, and professional advice from veterinarians on more serious conditions. Also flea control, deworming, engraved ID tags, collars, and at times pet food, in addition to $15 spay-neuter vouchers. Despite the fast pace and volume, team members still provide compassionate care and personalized service to each and every client. People from all walks of life and varied life experiences rely on the program's services because they truly love their pets, and in many cases their pets are all they have and all they live for. The income of the program's clients or shortage thereof does not always equate to the amount of love they have for their pets. The program is a non-judgmental team effort with a driving mission to keep pets healthy, treat those suffering from painful and untreated medical conditions, and to prevent many from the risks of being surrendered to shelters, given away online, or simply let loose on the street as strays for lack of owner resources. The 2017 BAT program served 2,622 pets, the vast majority of which were dogs. The ongoing availability of these services has a direct impact on the pets, but as well as on their humans who have the access to the care and are so grateful for the services. The program not only provides services when needed, but gentle yet constructive counseling on the importance of spaying and neutering and working with behavior issues in a positive manner versus harsh training methods and physical handling some may use. With that, I'd like to thank, from the bottom of my heart, the more than 120 volunteers who make up the BAT program and the more than 80 who made up the 2017 BAT program. So thank you very much. I think I'm supposed to hand these out. Amanda is reminding me that we have a clinic on Sunday, this Sunday at Carmichael Park, 10 to 1.
You can be in Carmichael Park for the Creek Week on Saturday, and you can come back for the vaccination clinic on Sunday. So, or stay overnight if you want, I guess.
It's a busy place. What did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm the short one.
I guess we've gotten into there, so we might as well go.
Come on in.
If you're taller, please stand in the back. If you're shorter, come to the front. There should be about 10 of you in the back, about 10 in the front. If you're in the middle or the back, make sure there's a head to the left, to the right, not directly under you. Right, fingers are fine. Ma'am, move over, please. Please move over. Thank you. Just like that. Thank you.
He's good. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, okay, I'm going to take 2 images here. The 2 in the back. Can you just slightly move this way, please? Thank you. Ma'am, thank you. Looks great. My camera right here. 1, 2. One more. 1, 2. Thank you.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you very much, volunteers, for the animal shelter. Next up, we hope, come now, the University of California Cooperative Extension. I'd like to ask Director Morgan Duran and Master Gardener Program Coordinator Judy McClure to please come up to the dais.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Please pardon my back side. So our volunteers, our 4-H Master Gardener and Master Food Preserver programs are highly dependent on our volunteers to be extenders in our communities throughout the county. And we are grateful for all of them and for the time that they give and their dedication to the programs and the communities in which they serve. One individual volunteer we are honoring today is Carolyn Ricudo, who can please come down, please. And Carolyn has been a volunteer for our 4-H program for over 15 years now. Yay. Carolyn is truly a model volunteer for 4-H. She is the go-to person when we need someone to train other 4-H volunteers, to show them the ropes, show them how things get done. She knows how to motivate volunteers, and she embraces the concept of youth leadership and partnership, which is truly needed in our 4-H youth development programs. Carolyn does everything you would want a volunteer to do. And what makes Carolyn's contributions really special is that her work comes from her heart, and that's seen in the care and the spirit she brings to the 4-H program and to the community club in which she is a leader of. So we really, truly appreciate Carolyn for all the contributions to the 4-H program, and we thank the board for this opportunity to recognize Carolyn. Thank you very much. I believe this is yours. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Carolyn. Your picture.
Great. Thanks, Carolyn.
On behalf of the Cooperative Extension, thank you very much for letting me brag about the wonderful Master Gardener program today and how we contribute to the community. How many of you are tired of paying your high water bills since meters went in? How many of you each week when you roll that green waste can down to the curb think there's got to be a better way? You must learn how to compost that stuff. And all of you probably have a nice big shade tree that you planted to reduce your air conditioning bill, and now it's dripping gooey stuff on your car in your driveway. I see some head shaking. So, well, I have the volunteers for you that can help you solve those problems. I'd like to introduce you to the large group of Master Gardener volunteers we have in the audience today and also scattered around. They are the ones that have the beautiful white badges on today. They listened to those concerns you have in the community, and they work hard to find ways to educate you on how to solve your problems. We have 200 Master Gardeners here in Sacramento. Many of them are here today. And we have approximately 70 of them that work tirelessly out at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center. And way back in 1997, under the guidance of our horticulture advisor, Chuck Ingalls, who is sitting up here, they created the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center. It's an amazing, absolutely amazing outdoor living classroom. And this year we are celebrating our 20-year anniversary out there. And if you hear a Master Gardener give a lecture out at the Horticulture Center or at someplace else, you'll remember a bit of what they said to you. But if you come out to our Horticulture Center and you see what we are doing, and you touch the plants, and you smell the plants, and you engage in a one-on-one conversation with our volunteers, you'll remember more of what you've learned, and you will go home and put it into your landscape and into your gardens, and you'll practice those activities. All of these volunteers are directly connected with the University of California. They're highly educated, and they take the research that is created by the advisors in the university system, and they put it into practice out at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center. So when you go out there, you are getting good, sound advice, and you're seeing good, solid information. We have 7 project areas on our 1 acre out there. We have 19 leadership positions, and on a regular basis, probably in a week, over 70 Master Gardener volunteers are in and out of that horticulture center. And tomorrow we have an event out there in the morning for those of you that like to share your Saturdays on the soccer field. We have Wednesday activities where you can come, and tomorrow morning you'll probably see about 100 Master Gardeners out there on site to help get you educated. We feature edible crops and water-efficient plants. So our Master Gardeners were ready before the drought was a common word in everybody's language. We were ready to educate you on how to take care of drought issues. In 2017, we had over 5,000 visitors at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center. They learned how to reduce the use of pesticides, how to reduce use of fertilizers unnecessarily, which kept them out of the creeks and the rivers, which fits right into the creek week issues we talked about earlier. And we have a wonderful composting program, so you don't have to wheel that bin out to the curb every week. And our native plant area will help you attract endless amounts of beneficial insects into your landscape. So we call it the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center, but our evaluations show that we get residents from all over Sacramento County, as far down as Gulf. comes to visit us. And we also get people visiting from outside the Sacramento region. Our average age of visitors, we have no average. We get people in their early 20s who have just bought their first house, and all the way up into the 80s. People will come with their grandchildren and show them best practices of gardening. All of our workshops and open gardens are free to the public. They're amazing, vibrant, educated volunteers that lead all of our workshops, and I highly recommend, if you have not been there, that you come and visit us. And again, I want to thank the Master Gardeners for being energetic, educated, and vibrant out there in the community. So I would like them all to stand, please, so you could give them a big round of applause. And again, I thank the board for your support at the Cooperative Extension, and please come down for your photograph. Now, I know you like to volunteer quickly, so quickly come on down. I think we'll do one in the middle.
Move all the way to the back.
Oh, Chuck. How are you? Good to see you. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you.
Tall people in back.
Can I hold it for you? Can we hold it? Can I hold it for you? Oh, yes, not. She got it. She's got it.
You're in the middle and the back. Make sure your heads are to the left, to the right, not vertical over you. Ma'am, you're being covered.
How are you? Good to see you. These guys, these folks can tell you.
Ma'am, right between those two heads. Keep going. There you go. Just can't see you, ma'am. There you go. Okay, here we go. Everybody, I can see everybody's heads. Everybody looking at my camera, YouTube, right behind Supervisors. Just touch up. Yeah, touch up. All right, here we go. Count of 3. 1, 2. One more. 1, 2. Thank you.
Great. How are you? Good to see you. Good. Okay, I will. Good job. Thanks for keeping the good work. Still, yeah. It's a little worse for wear. Oh, sure. Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, good. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you to all the volunteers of the University of California Cooperative Extension. Next up, we'll have Dr. Sherry Heller, Director of Health Services, acknowledging her volunteers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very pleased to introduce you to Irene Berger. Irene and I are determined to have the most colorful of the photographs taken today. Oh, especially if the chair can join us. Ms. Berger, I'm pleased to tell you, has donated over 135 hours in 2017. I don't know what they mean by over 135. So I don't know what that means. It was an extra 15 minutes, or we just stopped counting after 135. Her volunteer work is with the Senior Volunteer Services Program and the Gifts from the Heart units of the Sacramento County Department of Health and Human Services. She actively serves on advisory councils for the Foster Grandparent Program and the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. As a council member, she provides input on program operations, assists with fundraising, yay, event planning, and provides direct services to seniors at these events. I also want to tell you, you'll like this part. She also single-handedly designs and constructs the centerpieces for over 35 tables at the annual banquet for the Retired Senior Volunteers Program. They are magnificent. She's volunteered with the Gifts from the Heart program since 2015, working tirelessly as a delivery driver and in the warehouse to ensure that the children, disabled adults, and seniors receive a holiday gift. She was telling me stories. I hope you'll share one or two about the reaction of the seniors and the children at the door when she shows up with the Santa Claus, you know, the presents and everything. It's great. So she's responsible for bringing joy to others during the holiday season. We're very pleased to honor her as Outstanding Volunteer of the Year. And I know that the Volunteer Program Coordinator for Senior and Adult Services, Irene tells me Mary had a dental emergency this morning. So on behalf of the entire health department, we're glad she's getting treatment, even though she's not here this morning. But as we invite you to make a few remarks and tell about your experiences, I will ask Tanya Edelman, who's the Volunteer Program Coordinator for the Department of Child, Family, and Adult Services, to come forward and be part of the photos. And we'd love to hear a few words from you if you don't mind.
Well, it's been a wonderful experience for me. It's very rewarding, especially Gifts from the Heart. They really appreciate their gifts, and they're surprised when we come to the door. It's very rewarding, and it's amazing how many gifts that come through from all the local businesses and communities around Sacramento. They donate thousands and thousands of dollars of gifts and things for these people, and it's just a wonderful experience. I feel very privileged. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm the non-colorful one. Okay. I apologize.
All right. There we go. Perfect. Thanks, Irene.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, volunteers recognition from the Probation Department, Chief Lee Seal. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you to Chair Peters and the Board of Supervisors for taking the moment today to recognize so many people in all aspects of county government that really bring so much vital work to this region. Today, on behalf of the Probation Department, we want to recognize people who make an investment into what I think is really the best thing you can invest into, and that is the youth of Sacramento County. We are very proud of the work that happens inside our juvenile hall. We have thousands of kids, unfortunately, who come to us, but the work we do to try to help turn around lives inside juvenile hall is so important. We want to provide some guidance and structure and mentoring and support and send them on their way, and hopefully they don't return, and that's our goal. The people who we're going to honor today have donated so many hours. In fact, the volunteers for our department have volunteered over 12,400 hours, which is incredible. So with that, I'd like to call up our first honoree, Grandpa Jeffrey Cooper. You know, we say all the time that rehabilitation occurs in the context of a relationship. It occurs in the context of a human being, often a trusted adult in the life of a young person who helps turn that life around. And Grandpa Jeffrey Cooper is exactly that person. You know, we have a lot of titles in law enforcement, but I'd say Grandpa is about the most important title anyone can have. The OG, thank you. He began with us in November 2015. He has donated, now take a second and let the math sink in. He's donated 2,300 hours since 2015 and over 900 hours just in 2017. How about that? That's incredible. I mean, you're really spending a lot of time inside with our young people. What does that look like? It's talking to kids. It's accompanying them. They have court dates. Often he will be at their side. Perhaps it's a graduation event. Let's not forget we have a school inside and we graduate a lot of kids. We're really proud of that, and you're someone who is there to see them through that important accomplishment as well. Really, probably among all things most important is just that he's an active listener. And so often that's exactly what these kids need. So on behalf of the Sacramento County Probation Department, I'd like to honor Grandpa Jeffrey Cooper with all of his volunteer hours inside our juvenile hall. Thank you.
Good morning. About 2.5 years ago, I got involved with the foster grandparent program, and we're in many facilities, schools, Ronald McDonald's, things of that nature. And I asked for probation because I really enjoy being around young people. They kind of pick me up in my old age. But I must say that when I first started, I was nervous because I was going into an unknown. I did not know what I was going into. And it took a while for these young kids to get used to me and for me to get used to them. But after we did, and they started calling me OG, which I thought was old guy. Well, it didn't turn out to be that. But nevertheless, we started making connections. And I believe I've made a difference in a lot of these young people. And I'm very humbled by this award. I have been to court appearances when asked to be there. Case in point, young man asked me to be there. I said, oh, your parents going to be there, your grandparents? Yeah, they're going to be there. I said, oh, good, I'll meet them. I got there, I was paged. I was the only one there. They never showed up. And afterward, I went to see him in his unit, and he gave me the biggest hug. And that is a good feeling that the foster grandparent program was there on his behalf when his family didn't show up, and he really appreciated it. So in closing, I just want to thank each and every one of you. This has been very humbling, something I did not expect, but glad I got it. Anyway, thank you.
All right, now I'd like to invite down Vice President of the Positive Impact Program, Ronnie Heaton, and let's get the whole Positive Impact team. You guys, you're in your t-shirts, come on down. Let's recognize all of you. So many of you are familiar with this program. It's incredible. This group donated over 650 hours to kids inside juvenile hall last year. It is probably our most popular program. It involves working with hard to place shelter dogs. And what this group does is it pairs these dogs who really need to be humanized so that they can be adopted and placed into a loving home and thereby really have their lives spared. They bring these dogs in to our juvenile hall so that the youth inside juvenile hall can be a part of that process and make those dogs adoptable. And of course, in the process, those kids are getting so much out of it because they're learning trust and relationships and consistency and communication. They're working with the dogs, but they're also working with the volunteers. They're working with our staff. It's really hard to exaggerate the impact of a program like this, what it has on the culture of our department, the staff, the team, many of whom are here today to support this important volunteer program. And we're so happy for the impact it has on the life of young people. So specifically, what happens, it's a 5-week program. Kids work with these dogs several times every week, but then the group also brings in volunteer speakers, so vets will come in and talk to the young people about careers, working with animals, dog groomers, people from shelter programs, some of whom were honored today. All kinds of people will come in and they'll talk to the kids and get a little bit about what it means to work with animals, if that might be something that they continue to do once released to the outside, and maybe even as a career. So on behalf of the County of Sacramento and the Probation Department, I want to thank and acknowledge the incredible contributions of positive impact. So thank you all very much.
On behalf of all the volunteers at Positive Impact, we would like to thank the Youth Detention Facilities Manager for forwarding the Positive Impact nomination, and also thank the county executives for recognizing Positive Impact's contributions. We would like to take a moment to recognize our program director, Amanda Banks, whose chance encounter with a lost husky mix inspired this amazing program. Talia had been wandering the streets of Sacramento and one day managed to walk into Amanda's classroom where she was teaching a room full of 6th graders. The dog was underfed and had some medical issues as a result of fending for herself. Despite these issues, the beautiful dog immediately warmed up to Amanda's students and walked around the classroom showing everyone affection. The students, even the toughest around the classroom, showing everyone affection. The students, even the toughest around the classroom, showing everyone affection. What the? Do you mind if I just start over at some spot right here? Despite these issues, this beautiful dog immediately warmed up to Amanda's students and walked around the classroom showing everyone affection. The students, even the toughest kids in the class, were extremely compassionate and showing true concern for the dog's well-being. Amanda noticed the connection between her students and the dog. She had never seen some of the students exhibit such empathy before. After many unsuccessful attempts to find the owner of the dog, Amanda decided to make the husky a permanent member of her family and named her Talia. The students were thrilled to learn the dog had a permanent home and was happy. Uplifting the lives of animals, children, and adults through animal and human interaction, our mission statement. It's being transformed into reality every time once unwanted animals is shown compassion and direction. A troubled youth learns emotional life skills, and an adult is a witness to these special milestones. The success of this program is truly a result of individual contributions of time, effort, and talent to meet a need. We would like to extend an additional thank you to the staff, to the Youth Detention Center staff, and the Front Street Animal Shelter. It's through their support we volunteers are allowed to pursue our passion to meet such an important need. If you're interested in learning more about our nonprofit organization, seeking a volunteer position, or just want to show your support by placing a donation, please check us out on Facebook, or you can visit us at positiveimpact.org. Thank you.
There we go.
Everybody looks good right there. Okay, count of 3. 1, 2, 1 more. 1, 2.
You did the work for me, so start on social media, right? 1, 2. Thank you.
Thank you to the volunteers assisting the probation department in helping guide those youths to a better life. Next up, Regional Parks. I'd like to invite Deputy Director Liz Bellis to the front.
Good morning. I'm going to switch it up a little bit and do our group first. First, I'd like to say that Regional Parks is just so blessed to have hundreds of volunteers volunteering thousands of hours every year. And we're extremely grateful that we can honor our mountain lion study volunteers this year. If you guys want to come on down, I'll read your names off. I'm not sure everyone was able to make it, but I'll read everyone's name. We have Christina Brunsvold, Elizabeth Contreras, Maria Culhane, Pam Douglas, Mary Dubois, Dwayne Gainsberg, Emma Green, Jim Grimes, Kristen Harrisberger, Aaron Hogg, Rick Hicks, Richard Larson, Christine Llewellyn, Sarah O'Gara, Tom Palmer, and Patrick Vanek McGillivray. Bray. Sorry if I totally butchered anyone's name. So our volunteers have been working over the last 4 years. They've been monitoring 20 cameras over the 50,000 acres of the Cosumnes River Preserve, and the goal was to find a picture of a mountain lion. So I can tell you that because of their efforts, we have thousands of pictures of over 20 different wildlife species, but not a mountain lion. However, they did a weekly blog and interacted with the public to teach them about the importance of mountain lions in our in the Cosumnes River Preserve. We do know that they did visit. We just never got that elusive photograph. So thank you so much for all your time and effort. We really appreciate it. Kyle, if you can handle.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, you did? Okay. I'll take the rest of them then. Wonderful. So do we need to picture time?
Maybe open your folder so they can see the.
Very nice. All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2. One more. 1, 2.
Very good. Thanks again. Hi.
You want me to take these for everybody else?
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite down my friends, the Ashleman family, Randy Ashleman and Sharon King. They are amazing volunteers on our Dry Creek Parkway. They have done over 400 hours in 2017, and they do amazing, amazing things. Randy takes care of removing red suspania, which is an invasive plant from our creeks and waterways, as well as taking care of trash out of the creek. Sharon redid our sign for our Dry Creek Ranch House, historic ranch house, beautifully repainted this gorgeous logo. And then in 2014, Sharon came to us with an idea of a wildflower area on the Dry Creek Parkway. And it has grown, and it is beautiful. They prepared for us this gorgeous book of all the wildflowers on the Dry Creek Parkway. They teach people by handing out these beautiful cards that identify all the different wildflowers that can be found. We are so immensely, immensely grateful for all their support on the Dry Creek Parkway, and I'm so grateful you could come down today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed, how are you? Thanks.
We're grateful for Regional Parks for supporting us. I want to personally thank Phil Cerna because he appointed me to a Dry Creek Parkway Advisory Committee in 2010, and through all that process, we ended up with this wildflower area, so I want to thank Phil Cerna very much. Thank you.
Thanks for all your work.
I think it's kind of ironic that the person who does all the work is my husband. Okay, he made a joke the other day to me. He goes, you say, oh, I think I have an idea about something. Wouldn't it be neat if we did a wildflower area? Or, if they had one there? And then my husband goes, I'll get right to it. And so he's doing all the work, and I really appreciate it.
I know Jeff Leatherman, our Parks Director, is in the audience. Maybe we can look into doing something similar in some stretches of the American River Parkway. It's a great idea.
Point noted, right, Jeff? Yeah. Thanks to all the volunteers for the Regional Park System, one of the gems of the County of Sacramento. And finally, we have the Sheriff's Department. I'd like to invite Under Sheriff Eric Menace to the podium, please. Thanks.
Chair Peters and members of the board, I want to thank you for this opportunity to recognize our special volunteers. Before I get to the group and individual recognitions, I just want to point out that in 2017 we had 161 volunteers who volunteered a total of 27,505 hours in service to our community. So we couldn't be more proud and grateful for the work that they do for us. So our outstanding group of volunteers for 2017 is the North Division Rio Linda Service Center Volunteers in Partnership with the Sheriff, or VIPS. And I believe only one of the members from that team is here today. Artists, if you want to come down. The others are out volunteering still, so they couldn't make it. Our Rio Linda Service Center volunteers help citizens with neighborhood and law enforcement related issues and questions. Our VIPS patrol, fingerprinting, and general office assistance. Collectively, the Rio Linda Service Center volunteers enthusiastically donated over 1,400 hours of their time to the citizens of Sacramento County. Each member has personally dedicated themselves to making their community a more prosperous place to live, work, and play. And again, we have Artist Cry here with us. Artist has been with our department volunteering for 12 years and has volunteered 10,320 hours. The other members who couldn't make it with Artists today are James Fletcher, who's been with our department for 10 years. He's volunteered 3,300 hours. And Evangelina Schaefer, who's been with our department for 10 years also, and has volunteered 4,299 hours. Artists. She doesn't have anything to say right now.
Thanks, Doris.
Our individual volunteer of the year for 2017 goes to Robert McCulley, or volunteer Bob. Over the past 11 years, Bob has dedicated himself to passing on his knowledge by leading and training other volunteers and student interns. He has volunteered at the Marconi and Rancho Cordova Service Centers, as well as with the Sheriff's Work Project and Alternative Sentencing Program. His efforts have made him an invaluable component in the Sheriff's Department's goal of providing service with concern. Bob's been volunteering for 11 years and has volunteered a total of 3,770 hours.
I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that voted for me and nominated me. It's really an honor. I'm sure all the other nominees deserve it too, but I'm going to keep it. So thank you.
The rest of us, come on down. Come on down.
One. Someone like one more.
Gonna miss you, Bob.
Thank you.
And again, thank you to all the volunteers supporting the Sheriff's Department in their mission. In closing, if you would like to volunteer based on all the great stories that you've heard about the contributions that have been made to the citizens of the County of Sacramento, please get involved. You can get to the website, saccounty.net volunteer, or you can call 875-4311 and volunteer of your choosing. And that's it. I want to thank everybody here. I would also like to extend our thanks to Chair Peters and her staff, the rest of the board, General Services for their parking support for the volunteers, the Sheriff's Department for photography and posting of the colors, Chris Baker for the creation of the ceremonial check, and Personal Services for their event support. We do have refreshments outside in hearing number 1. If you'd like to join us, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Comachero, for working so hard on this. Board's going to take about an 8-minute break. Be back here at 11:15. We're behind. Recess.